what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Sunday. Hope we're all having a good Sunday out there. Overall, a pretty nice day across the country, especially compared to this past week, which has been honestly just kind of insane. We had a really incredible start to March. Do want to say I apologize for not having a video out yesterday. Unfortunately, I had something pop up, and just trying to enjoy that last little bit of my spring break before I drive back to Charlotte in a couple of hours. So again, I apologize about that, but then again, there really isn't that much going on right now, and we honestly have some pretty good time before our next storm system really moves in. So really not too much to worry about right now, but I am going to get a video out for you today, so I can kind of give you a rundown of what to expect going into the start of this week, and then starting this coming week we'll be back to our regular normal video a day operations. But real quick, I did want to show you this video. Like I said, I was out storm chasing on Friday, and although I did not catch any tornadoes or any of the sort, I did get some pretty nice lightning out there, and this video is actually out of Liberty, South Carolina, so if you're from kind of the upstate, I'm sure you'll know exactly where this Bojangles is, but nonetheless, very electric storms rolled through, and even some crazy kind of pollen got caught up in the storms, and I'll post another video maybe tonight or tomorrow of the sky during the storm kind of turning from this color to really bright outside from all that pollen being kicked around from that wind and those storms. But I did just want to show this to you real quick because I thought it was kind of cool. But with all that said, let's go ahead and get right into the forecast. So right now out there, really not too much going on. We do have this kind of band of snow moving through the northern plains right now. We have some winter weather advisories out for that, but overall it's been a really nice day across the lower 48, and you can see that here on satellite, pretty much cloud free from this entire kind of area I have circled here across the southeast and even into the central part of the country and even up through the mid-Atlantic. Really nice weather on this Sunday, including spring-like temperatures still holding on, but I will tell you that it's likely going to change over the next week or so. So taking a look here at some of those hazards out there right now. Again, we have some winter weather advisories and even a couple winter storm warnings up here in the northern tier of the country for that Clipper system that is moving through right now. But other than that, pretty quiet. We do saw some river flooding going on here across kind of the eastern half of the country from all that rain we got from that storm system a couple days ago. But other than that, just kind of some red flag warnings and wind advisories out here into the desert southeast, I guess, the southeastern part of the deserts, or just the southern plains in general, seeing some of those fire hazards. But we do have some new winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories out west for areas of California, as we do expect more snow to fall out there in those higher elevations. And let me tell you, they just have not gotten a break really all winter out there. I do want to show you tonight's temperatures real quick. Another warm night even for March standards. With temperatures not getting below freezing for much of the country here into the central and southeastern part of the country. Cooler temperatures up here into the northeast and out into the northwest, but overall a pretty average kind of March evening. And then going into tomorrow, another crazy spring-like day here in the southeast as we continue to just bake in the springtime weather. Even some trees are starting to get some leaves on them here where I live in the southeast, and that will likely be a pretty common theme through the first couple of days of this week before some of those colder temperatures work their way back into the forecast. So showing that to you here, and I'll try to make this map a little bit bigger for you if I can here. We're going to take a look at what we can expect this week. So I'm going to try to explain this to you here. Right now, this is that kind of system that we have moving through the upper Midwest and the Great Plains, bringing some light snow. But behind that, we're going to get a pretty nice shot of cold air, and that is going to be noticeable here with, you kind of see this red area oozing down into the south, or to the south into the United States, and with that is some colder temperatures. So this is going into Tuesday afternoon here. You can see this kind of cold front of sorts setting up shop and working its way south, and that's even going to continue going into a Wednesday. And you can see we're going to get some of that more February-like air, if you will, working its way into the east and the southeast during the middle part of this week before we then get another storm system to kind of work its way back into the forecast going into the second half of this week here. And with that, it will definitely bring some rain and even some snow for some of us. And there's some question marks on the back half of that storm. I'm sure you'll see probably all over the place some crazy model runs we've kind of seen here for the potential of a nor'easter here up into New England. But right now, as we know from this winter, nothing is guaranteed a week out. So I'm not even really going to touch that much on it in this video. But as we get further into this week, we'll definitely discuss more about that. But what I will tell you right now is we do have the potential for maybe some kind of significant storm going into this coming coming weekend. So again, that's about a week out, and we have plenty of time to touch up the forecast on that. But what I do want you to know is, again, for the first couple of days this week, pretty nice weather. So again, we do have this kind of quick clipper system moving through the Great Plains, up into the northern Great Plains, that is, and into the Midwest, before that eventually kind of clears out, maybe bringing some light snow and rain into the overnight, Monday night, I should say, into sections of the Mid-Atlantic, but nothing crazy with that. And then going into Tuesday and Wednesday, pretty average weather, although we will begin to get some showers redeveloping here into the central part of the country. Not expecting really any kind of severe weather with this, but definitely some rounds of heavy rain and showers on Tuesday and Wednesday here from Oklahoma up through kind of the Kansas City area, and then snow to the north of that up into the northern Great Plains from the Dakotas into Minnesota. But nothing really crazy gets going until about Thursday, when this storm system really begins to kind of get maturing here. With that, an increase in shower activity here across the south, and an increase in snow potentially up here into the northern Great Plains. And that system continues to finally really get working east going into Friday, bringing some pretty heavy rain here into the southeast, and potentially some snow again up here into the Great Lakes going into the second half of this work week, before again working its way into New England into this coming weekend. And that's whenever we have some question marks, and we've seen some models hinting at maybe some low pressure deepening off the coast and producing some snow. But again, we got time to iron that out, and we'll wait till we get a bit further into this week to iron those details out. But the big story here, I think, is going to be temperatures. So we're going to start this week on Monday afternoon with a really warm spring-like day, and those are those temperatures I showed you at the beginning of the video, this big dome of heat here over the east. But as we get to kind of into Tuesday afternoon, that cold air I talked about here out of Canada is going to try to work its way down, and especially going into Wednesday, I think this could finally take over a little bit, and you can see some of those colder temperatures here across the east. So 5 to 10 degrees below average, so nothing crazy, but definitely colder than this, springtime weather we've been dealing with. So even though this is only 5 to 10 degrees below average for what we'd expect in early March, again, you got to remember Monday afternoon we're going to be close to 20 degrees above average. So that's about a 20 to 30 degree swing in temperatures. So that's pretty significant, to say the least. And I think those colder temperatures really try to hang on in the east for much of this week, especially with that rain moving in later in the week, potentially keeping cloudy weather for much of the second half of this week. We're not going to have as nearly of a nice spring week compared to the past couple of weeks, and you can see that cold air here still hanging on in the east going into this coming weekend on our latest model here, and then that trend just continues for a while. So another thing I want to talk to you here is about cloud cover this week. Again, starting out the week going into Monday afternoon, we'll definitely have clouds around, but overall still pretty nice weather. I think it's once we get into the middle of the week here, and you can see this cloud cover really just stick around throughout the middle of the country, having very cloudy conditions really again starting Wednesday, and then that big shield of cloudiness continues to work east going into Thursday and Friday with that rain we talked about, and then even into kind of the start of this next coming weekend, it looks to be pretty cloudy through much of the lower 48. So again, talking about those temperatures, 6 to 10 day outlook here, we've got pretty high likelihood of below average temperatures here in the east, and that's going to be partially due to this colder air, of course, but also I think because of just this cloudier weather, as well as some of this rain moving in. Will definitely help to keep temperatures below average, which again is going to feel very different than what we had in February. And in terms of temperatures, again, a lot of that precipitation out west, but still definitely some rounds of storms kind of working their way through the east coast, and that will help to bring some precipitation. So definitely not below average precipitation anywhere, but about average through much of the east as we get kind of a storm per week kind of setup going ahead. With all that said, though, again, this was kind of a quick video, but there's really not too much to talk about here in the very near term. So as we get a little further into this week, especially going into Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll really start to break down some of those threats a little bit more for you. But right now, just know that we have colder air on the way going into the middle and second half of this week, as well as some pretty widespread on and off rain for much of the country east of the Rockies. So that is the main story right now. And again, I'll try to upload that one video I was talking about with kind of the pollen and all that from my storm chase on Friday. And again, just a reminder, I'll be back in Charlotte starting this week, so expect a much more, I guess, kind of normal schedule for the channel. But with all that said, hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday, and I will see you all tomorrow.